Obamacare. New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte, Republican, member of the Senate Budget Committee and Armed Services Committee. Senator, good morning to you, and thank you for coming
Good morning,
back
Bill.
to our program. You've got a long day. You've got a long weekend, but you knew that. You've been here before. What about this whole idea about defunding Obamacare? Is that dead?
Well, I would say so. I mean, here's the issue. First of all, we, as Republicans, we all support defunding Obamacare. But the issue today is, do we shut down the government to do so? And I think that gives more leverage to the Democrats, because then it becomes about shutting down the government instead of the real issue, which is a law that the American people are overwhelmingly against. And then you ask the question, what happens in the House? And that's what I've always asked from the beginning about this strategy. How does this end, Bill? And it's not clear right now, but I know one thing. We certainly don't want to shut down the government. We want to make sure that we can continue to fight this fight against Obamacare.
Well, let's break that down one at a time. Who in the Republican Party favors a government shutdown? Anyone?
Well, I would say this, Bill, that if you, what some have been asking us to do is to say not to end debate today, to say no to the motion that we're going to vote on first this morning that takes 60 votes. If we say no to that, then essentially on cloture to end debate, then the bill's done. And right there, potentially, unless something else happens, the government could shut down.
But the reason I asked that question is because Harry Reid and the president say Republicans want to shut the government down. Do they?
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't think
Who does?
I don't.
Give me a name.
I absolutely don't. I do not, and I don't think it's the right strategy. But in order to make sure it doesn't happen, then the bill that the House has sent over we have to go to that bill, take it up, make a decision on it, and then go from there. So if we don't take it up and we fail to do that today, then we're in that place where I don't think we should be of shutting down the government.
Now come back to the other question you raised there earlier about the House. What does happen then? I mean, give us, I guess, in plain English, what we can expect here and what our viewers can expect.
Well, I think what happens is the bill gets sent back over from the Senate, that the Senate Democrats take out the defunding of Obamacare. In other words, they put the money back in for Obamacare. It goes back to the House, and then the House has to act. So the question is, what does the House do? How does this end? Do they send something back to us, for example, a delay of Obamacare, of the individual mandate for a year? I would hope that the Senate Democrats would agree to that, because how is it fair to treat businesses differently than individuals? Yesterday, Joe Manchin came out from West Virginia, said he would support that. So that's one possibility.
So you're saying
we really don't know how this ends.
It is possible. I apologize about the interruption. I'm just trying to work through this, a step at a time. That the individual mandate could be delayed for a year if you pull 4 or 5 Democrats to your side. Is that still a possibility?
If we could get 4 or 5, I think it's still a possibility, but the Democrats have said no, they won't let that happen. But again, I don't know how they justify that position, given that the president's delayed the mandate for businesses. How should businesses be treated better than individuals?
Because a lot of Republicans have suggested.
I don't know how that ends.
Right. A lot of Republicans have suggested that there are a lot of vulnerable Democrats up for re-election in red states next November. I mean, like a guy like Joe Manchin in West Virginia you mentioned. Are there 4 or 5 others who could cross over, do you believe?
They could, but the votes aren't there right now. They have not announced that they would do so. So we don't know what happens if it comes over with an individual delay and what the Senate Democrats would do on that. Senator Reid has said that they would actually vote against that. And then at that point, we're still in what happens with the funding of the government. Okay. So again, at the end of the day, what I don't want is President Obama to get a pass on this. If it becomes about shutting down the government, let's see, we've already seen this law falling of its own weight. In my own state of New Hampshire, there's only going to be 1 insurer in the exchange, and 10 out of 26 hospitals will not be in that exchange. Premiums are going up, and I've heard it an earful from my constituents how they're not happy with this law.
Our debt clock is at $17 trillion. And this is really an extraordinary thing to watch it tick up and up and up. 16.9 officially right now for the debt clock. And there was a poll that came out from Bloomberg. How should the debt ceiling be viewed by Congress? 61% in that poll, 61% believe that require more spending cuts is the right way to go. Right. And you said the other day in the Wall Street Journal, you said we're losing the forest for the trees here. There is still $17 trillion in debt. Why aren't we addressing these issues? Go.
I am worried that we're losing the forest for the trees with the $17 trillion in debt. And, the president has an untenable position here where he said that we can't negotiate at all over the debt ceiling. Historically, Bill, there have been 27 times approximately where some piece of legislation has been put on the debt ceiling. Many important pieces, Graham-Rudman-Hollings, other ways that we've tried to deal with the debt and really get our fiscal house in order. And the American people don't want us to extend our credit again without dealing with the underlying problem, which is, of course, the $17 trillion in debt. So that really, we don't want to lose sight of that issue because that impacts everything else. And then what are we doing to our children and our grandchildren, and never mind all of us, because we can't live with $17 trillion in debt. It's bad for the country and the strength of America.
Thank you, Senator, for your time. Kelly Ayotte, the Republican
Thanks.
from New Hampshire. Thank you.